Okay.
Let me just check we're live, and if we are, we will get started. Do you guys want to share the link with anyone?
Yeah, cool.
I'll send you the YouTube link.
Yeah, sure.
I've shared the YouTube one. I think that's going to be, it's on Facebook as well, but I think YouTube's more accessible to people. All right, guys, welcome to each and every person here. We're trying something new today. Welcome to those of you who are watching, whether it's by Facebook or via our YouTube stream. We thank you guys for joining us. First of our first week during this lockdown, and our first day of the week, trying out a evening program. This evening we got something called Real Talk, and it's going to be a discussion that we're going to host here online. And we thank you guys for joining us. I want everyone to introduce themselves now as we get started. We'll just start in the top left, right corner.
Me. So, hi everyone, I'm Wynny Campbell. I'm a doctor by profession. I work as an A&E registrar in one of the hospitals in Birmingham. I'm married to Micah Campbell, who's one of our NEC pastors. And I'm in proper lockdown because I'm day 3 of social isolation with the family because I've got some symptoms, but everything is fine. I'm fine, just praying God's going to get me through this.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'll go next. My name is Leon Fuller. I'm from Birmingham. I go to Hands of Church. I am a social worker. And I think that's it for now.
Okay, all right.
I'm Danielle Holder. Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
No, you go for it.
Okay, I'm Danielle Holder. I'm a dentist. I'm living in Walsall at the moment. And today I had my first day back at work via telephone consultation, so that was different. And I also attend Hands of Church.
My name is Jemima Nambo. I am currently studying in Birmingham, and my home church when I'm there is Winter Street.
Yeah, my name is Wilson Mazaiwana, and I'm a software developer by trade. I live in Lancaster. I work in Edinburgh, and I go to church in Preston.
So a lot of driving. Where are you right now?
I'm in Edinburgh at the moment. So
okay. All right.
Hi everyone, I'm Denise. I am a speech and language therapist by profession, and I'm currently working from home, which is very interesting. And I go to Campbell Church in Birmingham, and I am also on the youth advisory team.
Okay, thank you. Hi guys, my name is Adam Ramdin. I'm a pastor in the NEC, and I also work as the current youth director, and which involves lots of online stuff right now. So, so we got a little bit of brief. Thank you for introducing your names and where you come from. How many of you, or who is, I think a few of you alluded to it, who's working from home right now and who's not working from home?
Like half and half at the moment.
Okay.
as for me, because I rent somewhere in Edinburgh, so I'm working from home there at the moment, so I can't go into the office.
Okay.
I'm studying from home.
Okay. Denise, you said you're working from home.
I'm working from home. I have very limited access to the office.
Yeah, I'm definitely normally working in hospital, just at home at the moment. So I'm thinking of all my colleagues at the moment who are at work.
Okay, I have the privilege of working from home usually, because I've got a laptop and whatnot using my career. But at the moment, I've been at home for about like 2 weeks, so I'm working from home, and it's okay. It's different, but it's okay. It's a struggle at times, you know.
So, for those of you who are not used to working from home, when you heard about a lockdown and you heard that the country was going to be like, unless you're an essential worker, you had to stay home. What were your thoughts going through your mind? Was it something you were looking forward to, or something you thought would be good or bad, or just anyone want to share?
I think for me, I was really unsure whether I was actually going to be classified as an essential worker. And then when I was like, how am I actually going to be able to work from home? I think especially like looking in people's mouths on a daily basis, the risk of transmission is so high. So it's kind of been a different situation working from home, but I'm really glad for the human interaction at the moment too, which is good.
I think for me, it was the change in the routine that was going to pose quite a challenge, because you're used to getting up and going into uni, say for 9 a.m. and most days having 9 a.m.s, and then to be at home, it's like you don't have the pressure of getting to your 9 a.m. anymore. So maintaining that motivation, I think, was an initial challenge.
I mean, for me, obviously, I like to be in control in it. I like to be in control, and I can choose when I work from home. I can choose when I do my visits. But now it's kind of like I've, forced to stay in my house, which is a good idea. It's great. I'm spending time with the family, and I'm also working from home. It's a relaxed environment, but I need to get out. I need to get out. I need to get out, guys, man. It's a struggle at times. So it's a different experience for me.
So how many kids you at home with?
Okay, so I've got 4 at home, in a contained space. Wow. You know, it's interesting. It's just challenging me, but it's good. It's a good experience. It's good to be around the children, and seeing them when I want and when I please. Yeah.
As for me, I've been, I think for the past 7 years, I've been privileged in being able to work from home, I think about 80% of the time. So it's only when I've come to Edinburgh that I've worked maybe in an office for quite a long time, actually. So when we switched back to working from home, I was just like, oh, well, I've done this a lot, so this is all right for me. But it's just that, you know, when you get confined again, you just feel like, oh, maybe you need to go out a bit more. But before, you didn't feel like you needed to go out. So it's like you don't know what you've got until it's gone.
So true. So true.
I can relate to that. I was working from home before, so for about 18 months. But that term was very fluid because I would be driving up and down to see clients. And I would work from home, but I'd go like to a cafe or to some public space to do work. And now I'm having to actually work from home. And it's like a whole different ball game to what I'm used to doing. I can't just go and visit. I have to make phone calls to everything. And yeah, it's much more difficult being actually tied to the house, and not being able to like go and, like, you know, just be in a public space and do work there. So I'm struggling in that respect. I don't know how Leon's coping working from home with kids, because I am 100% distracted and there are no
No, I don't know either, actually. I I feel sorry for Micah because he's completely like doing phone calls, all of those video calls and stuff from home. And he's doing the homeschooling most of the time. So the past 3 days, I've been milking this illness. I can't do it now, babes. I need to lie down.
Actually, now you say it, you do look quite healthy. I'm messing with you.
It's the truth though. Like I expected to feel so much sicker. Like I had a throat infection a month ago and I was sick. Like I actually thought I already had corona. So like now I'm stuck at home. I would so much rather be at work. I'm not even going to lie to you. It's nice to be at home and spend time with the family, but a 3-bedroom house is just not big enough for no matter how many kids you've got.
It's true. I'm seeing some of my friends in America that like have these nice big houses and 3-acre gardens, and I'm like, man, it doesn't look too difficult.
How are you doing it, Leon? Honestly, man.
I know.
I think we've got the short straw with our UK kind of housing situation.
Definitely.
We build very small. We need to expand and enlarge.
Yeah,
it's true. It's true, man. It's true.
Jemima, are you at home or are you in uni flats or whatever?
I'm at home now. I was able to go home just before the lockdown started. But yeah, I am back at home now.
Lockdown for students.
For me, going back to your question, Adu, like, what did I think it was going to be like? I wasn't too fussed. I was like, oh, it'll be fine. I'll just be at home. I think I'm quite used to my own company. I grew up an only child, so I feel like I thought I'd have it down. I thought I'd have it together. And I still do, but I feel like it's slowly going to be chipped away at, depending how long we have to be here for. So I think, and I think like I've talked to different people, and I think it can depend on your personality type as well as to how you are coping. So
that's what I was going to say.
My extrovert friends are like, no, and then like, the introverts are like, well, I got a book, I got Netflix, got a book, I could take a nap. So I feel like it depends on who you
it's
are.
true. Like Aika was like, I was born for this moment. And I believe she's like hasn't flinched one bit. But I mean, Danny, you said you're an extrovert.
I'm an extrovert. So, guys, I'm struggling out here. I am struggling out here. WhatsApp, FaceTime, house party, everything. Like, hey guys, how are you doing? I think when you kind of get your energy from other people, and all of a sudden you can't leave your house. Like, what am I supposed to do? So today, going to work, I was so excited. Just to see people.
I'm the like opposite of that. So I'm just tired of my work WhatsApp. I'm really tired. Like, can we just stop? I don't need to see your conservatory. I'm okay with not meeting your dog. It's fine. Like, but then the extroverts like Danny are sharing everything via work WhatsApp, and I'm okay. I'm okay. I feel like it does depend who you are.
I think for me, because when we do our work, we usually do what you call pair programming. So you work with someone on a piece of software that you have to deliver. So at the moment, they've been able for us to be able to do it remotely. So someone else can see my screen whilst I'm typing, and then they can tell me what to do. Or I can see their screen. No, I can see their screen as they're typing, and then we can collaborate on stuff. So even though I'm sitting by myself in the flat, I'll actually be talking to someone the whole day. So it's not. So
Wow.
That's nice. I would love that.
That is nice, actually.
But do you not think that this is what's really interesting about this social isolation? Because it's probably one of the most sociable social isolations because of social media and stuff.
Yeah.
Like we've got Instagram, we've got Facebook. I think if this happened 10 years ago, everybody literally would be going stir crazy, like, isn't it, extrovert or introvert? But yeah.
No, that is so true, actually. because a couple of days ago, the youth from our church, we had like a discussion like we would at a lunchtime, sat around the table over Zoom. And it was so nice to be able to still have that discussion time. So I agree, like this is a very social lockdown.
Yeah, and in the same way, it also makes us understand how much human interaction, like touch, is important too. Because I think that's the hardest thing that I'm finding. Like last week, I'd see people that I hadn't seen for like 3 weeks because I've been doing nights and they've been doing days, and all I wanted to do was give them a hug. But we couldn't. We had to do the elbow, foot, jig about a bit.
The wink.
And it's like, you know, that day you want to have a ladies' night and hug your ladies, like tap somebody on the shoulder. And it's that's what I'm missing the most.
Yeah.
Like my mum and dad, I'm missing giving them a hug.
It's true.
Sorry.
No, carry on, Leon. Go ahead.
I'm just a bit concerned that, you know, obviously McDonald's is shut down and Burger King shut down, and
you're wondering if they're
what's going on? How are we going to survive? You know. But when those restaurants closed down, I thought to myself, nah, this is real, man. This is actually real. And we've had to be creative in the kitchen and, you know, get the burger baps out and this, that, and the other. It's been a good time, actually, just to, like, you know, spend some quality time in your house rather than going out all the time. So I think there's some definitely positives from it.
I think everyone's turning into Ainsley Harriet. Everyone's getting out the cookbook, getting new dishes out, posting on Instagram, sharing with people what's going on. So I think it's kind of nice that despite the social distance, there's definitely like community forming as well.
Definitely.
Leon.
Go on, Adam.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like this whole us meeting up on a Monday night at 8 would never have happened ever.
Never.
Like,
never.
So I think it what Danny's saying and what Wynny's saying is very true. That we're kind of building these new online communities and interacting, in some ways, interacting more than you would interact before, or just in using different platforms than you would before. So there are some maybe benefits, or, you know, we are being pushed outside of our comfort zones to find other ways and different ways of interacting. So I think maybe good things can come out of it.
Definitely. I think good things are coming out of it. I think I saw a meme, which probably a lot of you guys have seen, which says, now we'll see which meetings should have been emails, and, you know, and also now it's also that we'll see which meetings should have been done over Zoom or over Skype. You know, it could have been a board meeting or a departmental team meeting, or, you know, that kind of thing. So at least now, people, even in our groups, including in our churches, now know at least, you know, that there's extra ways to connect together as well, which is good.
Definitely.
I'm still definitely having Zoom meetings that should be emails. I just need to put that out there.
And it's definitely the experts who are like, guys, let's meet up, let's see each other, let's have a little chat.
How long did the last 7 days feel to you guys?
Oh gosh.
I feel like it's been a month. I genuinely feel like it's been a month. Like, yeah, because I think every day's just dragged. And I think for myself, because I only went back to work today as well, like I was just at home, and usually like when you're not at work, you're like seeing your friends, you're like going out, you're doing different things, kind of, but just being confined in the house and only being able to go out for your one form of exercise for the day or shopping, it's just really, really dragged for me. So I feel like it's been a month.
These days are so long. My goodness. I actually have to get these 15-minute walks in with the children every day. I look forward to it, man. I will go out and just have a look around. I didn't do that before. But I now take the kids out. You know, Eden's in the pram. I get the guys on the scooters. But I do look forward to that. But the days, it's going so long, guys. Help me, man, please.
We'll Zoom next week, Leon.
Thanks.
For me, it's been an interesting 7 days actually, because I would say I'm an extrovert as well. But this 7 days has gone so quickly. Like it feels like I wake up and next thing it's evening again, which has surprised me, to be honest. I don't know whether it's because I'm enjoying just being at home and it's been quite a different experience that I've not had for a while. But yeah, strangely enough, it feels like it's gone quickly. Maybe as well because I'm doing the things or some of the things that I wish I'd done when I didn't have time, and now I've got extra time that somehow we're just busy.
To do those things, yeah, that's
I
good.
just one negative for me. You know, I think everyone's getting a bit too excited on WhatsApp. I don't know if you guys are experiencing the same thing. Everyone's getting so excited. Everyone's firing this message off, saying that, oh, if you drink water, then you'll be like, come on, man. Like, it's just all these people are sending message after message, and it's a struggle, man. It's a struggle. You know, that's one negative. Everyone's just firing message. This corona, that.
Yeah, I'm getting tired of the this is what a doctor in Wuhan says you should do. It's like drink 5 cloves of garlic with 2 shots of this and it will cure. Oh man.
Yeah.
You know. You're right. The WhatsApp forwards are driving me mad.
We are tired. This is a public service announcement. We are tired of WhatsApp.
Stop it.
Stop it.
Cut it out. You know what I mean?
Wynny, how is it for you as a doctor with people like coming to you and asking you for advice and like getting your opinion on it from a medical profession?
I would say actually the week has gone really fast for me and it's mentally exhausting. Like I'm so tired, and I don't think it's because I'm sick or anything. Like I was tired from last Monday because work isn't as busy as it normally is. So for example, I used to see one patient every 20-30 minutes. Now I'm seeing one patient every hour and a half. But every patient is either really sick or you think that they're well, but you doubt yourself because this is a new thing. So it's like, do I send them home? If I send them home, are they going to get really sick? And you know, what's going to happen? And then as soon as I get home, just like you said, Danielle, like I've got people asking me, I've got a temperature, do I have corona? What am I going to do? I can't get through to NHS 111 and you're my like doctor on standby. Can you tell me what to do? And like, I don't mind giving advice and stuff, but I think it's just the exhaustion of it all. Like, I just want it to finish now because it's a lot. I obviously can't talk directly about my faith to people just in their face, but I do find that I've been talking more about faith with my colleagues. It's just come up because it's almost like everybody's looking for some sort of hope now. Because it seems like people are saying, I don't believe in God, or I don't really know what happens when you die, but this is just making me think that the end of the world is coming. And like, that's not a conversation you normally have with someone who isn't an Adventist, you know what I mean? Like we all say, this is just a sign that God's coming is closer, but other people can see it too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been really hard. And to have those conversations with people about, you know, if you die, how much intervention are we going to be able to give you as a doctor? I'm having them every day, at least 3 times a day, where before I'd have them once a week if I needed to. Wow. So it is really challenging. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure that I guess that we really don't understand as much. Yeah, that's tough to have those decisions to have to make on a daily basis. Yeah.
And I think go on, Adam.
Is the hospital feeling like, is there more people there, less people there? Is it overwhelmed?
So there's definitely less people there. Because doctors who work on wards that are normally buzzing like surgery and the ones that do a lot of outpatient stuff, they've shut all their services. So they're being put in different places. But I'd say the ones that are feeling it the most is ITU. Like, we ran out of beds 2 weeks ago, so we're making extra beds. And 2 weeks ago, not everybody was sick. It was just the odd person. So yeah, it's really hard. Like you don't expect to see so many sick people all the time. And also a lot of them are younger than people anticipated them to be, because everybody took so long to socially distance. So I'm getting like 55-year-olds. So it's hard. It is really hard. Yeah.
I think it's just crazy how like everywhere in the world, people are experiencing the same thing. There's kind of like this joint solidarity that everyone's feeling some kind of pain or the effects of COVID-19, whether it's personally or like a family friend, or do you know what I mean? I think for me, it's just being crazy that wherever you speak to somebody in the world, they're experiencing a similar thing to you at this moment in time.
And the other thing that's got me with that is how quickly it's all developed across the world, that we heard about it starting to emerge, and then now like there's so many lockdowns in so many different places, and it's just happened so quickly.
Yeah, the speed of the lockdown around the world is just it's quite something.
Yeah, I think we ought to appreciate our health service more. Doctors or nurses, man, we appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Shout out to all the healthcare professionals.
But it's also all the people behind the scenes, because
Definitely.
like the cleaners, they have to clean stuff 4 or 5 times more than ever.
Oh yeah.
The porters, they're carrying people from wards to wards. All like the supermarket, I feel sorry for them, dealing with like mad people trying to fight them for a roll of toilet, so roll of toilet roll. Just all the, like, I feel like the NHS has been appreciated by most people, but maybe it's more noticed now. But there's just all the other people that maybe we took for granted.
It's interesting when you think about like all of a sudden professional sports is like obsolete now.
Absolutely.
Right? And then it's the people, like you say, stacking the shelves. It's the people driving the lorries. It's the people, everyone's, doing some of the behind the scenes stuff, as well as obviously the healthcare professionals who are having to make life and death decisions, who are keeping the country running during this time.
I feel like definitely I think we should appreciate the NHS a lot more. I agree. But just echoing what you guys are saying, like I feel like a lot of other professionals do get left out. And it's a shame how before there's kind of like a ranking in which career is worth more, or et cetera, but now, my goodness, everybody needs Tesco. Everybody needs Tesco because everyone needs to eat. You know what I mean? So if they stop, then my goodness, I've got no allotment in my back garden, so I struggle. You see what I'm trying to say? So I'm just appreciating everybody really. You're right, the cleaners, even like the carers and support workers, they still have to go in. They still have to go in and support vulnerable individuals, and they don't have a choice. So seeing everyone, man, need to appreciate everyone.
Definitely. But I think what surprised me as well is when you're at home, how much food you can eat and how much rubbish you can accumulate. And there's been men who are coming every 2 weeks before. Like, you really just kind of just build up so much waste so much quicker. So I'm really like appreciating everyone right now.
I think that one of the effects of this has made people realize how much we appreciate those we often don't appreciate. And may that continue afterwards.
Definitely.
I want to ask a question to kind of each of you or any of you. What kind of advice, I mean, we've touched it a little bit, would you have maybe from your field of work? I know we've got medical professional, medical student, social workers and other professions there. Would you have from your field of work to give to someone who's at home, isolating and maybe having a hard time with it? Or things they can do to make it more productive, either of those?
I would say...
Go on, Denise.
I would say make a list, tick it off. that's a good place to start. But don't just include work things in your list. Include breaks and like time out, and I don't know, your allocated legal walk time, and just anything, something that's going to bring you joy in the day, phoning a friend, whatever's gonna, so you can space that time out, because the days do start to get long sometimes. And I think for me personally, I'm sitting in front of a screen so much more than I ever did before. And I'm having to be very intentional and very conscious about kind of stepping away from that, because now not only are you sitting in front of your screen for like work, but like your only kind of social go-to place is the screen as well. So I think and then to entertain yourself, it's a screen. Like there's just a lot of screen time. So maybe being intentional about where you're spending time and what you're doing, and taking time away from your screen. That's for me personally as well.
Maybe from a social work perspective, I would say that it's an extremely difficult time, because a lot of services are closing down right now, or a lot of care agencies can no longer deliver the same level of support as they did prior. And that means that a lot of families have to support their family members who are vulnerable or who need support. And if anyone's struggling, I would say you need to just, there's if you go onto the adult social care websites for within your county, there's always going to be a duty number or an emergency duty number to call. Please utilize it, because there's support out there from each council that can support individuals, especially through this crisis. And also as well, it's a difficult time for parents as well. As you know, people have to look after their own children now. The schools are closed, and this means they get real. And unfortunately, this is where things occur, like horrible things like abuse, etc., etc. I think that people need to make themselves aware of the hotlines that are available online, or to reach out to a neighbor, or if you know somebody, to mention it to the authorities, so that we can make sure we keep everyone safe during this difficult time.
As for me, I'd say from a software developer's point of view, okay, I'm going to say this from my own experience, from what I've been doing in my spare time and the time that I have. And I've had so many ideas and so many projects to work on. So that free time which I've had, I've managed to go on to other things which I've managed to do in the spare time. So it comes back to what Denise said before on, have a list of things that you need to do. So I had a list of things that I need to do before. So that means in that spare time, I could go on and do those things. Like for example, at the moment, I would recommend any software developers to look for some ways to help their churches, with software to do stuff, because our churches are in need of software services to be able to help, with the work that we need to do as a church. And that would be my advice to software developers. And to anyone else who's in IT, I would also say, just go out there, do something different, completely different from something that's techie. If it means go and helping out other people where technology is not involved, go and do that, so that at least you can have a different experience and a different life experience as compared to something that you usually do day by day.
I think I probably second what Wilson said. As somebody who's self-employed, and a lot of people either don't have work to do anymore, or some people who would have been employed are being furloughed now as well. So you often have a lot more time on your hand. I think it's kind of a good time to invest in yourself, find a hobby that you may not have had time for before, that you can now really invest in. Like, I've started to learn Spanish. it's not going that well, but I'm still trying. So like, I think there's so much stuff that you can give a go. And I think also, like for myself, I've also joined through the NHS. The NHS are like looking for volunteers themselves as well. So if you're extroverting, like talk to people, there's always an option for a check-in and chat. So you can kind of register just to ring people, brighten people's days, especially the elderly people who are in social isolation themselves. And then from a dental perspective, dentists are still open in this time. It is only emergency patients that are being seen, but if you do have a dental need over this time frame, still ring. It may not actually be a visual consultation or in-person consultation, but you will be able to get advice and support and care when necessary over the phone at this moment in time. So your teeth will still be looked after in this time, guys.
Thanks, Danny.
It's all right, guys. I'm always here to help you smile.
From a studying perspective, I think building a routine can be helpful, because you might be used to having your set timetable, and now it's like you might not have that anymore. So building a routine of your own, but also being forgiving to yourself that you're adapting to a new situation. And so it might be harder to get in the rhythm like you had before, but give yourself time, and just try and like set your targets still. I like what Denise was saying about making a list, and just make a nice realistic list of things that you can actually achieve. And where possible, perhaps changing scenes. So if you've got space in your home, be able to work in different places. So it's like you're changing scene, going from one place to the next, like you might do in university or wherever you might be studying, so that it's not just you in one place looking at a screen all day, because that can be quite hard to maintain the motivation throughout the day. So switch it up, keep it fresh, and just keep, I guess, that motivation ticking over throughout the day if you can.
I'd say everybody gave really good advice, because I was going to talk less about like the physical symptoms, but more the mental symptoms, because I think it's getting to the stage now where fear, anxiety, those are the things that can set in, especially if you're stuck in the same place for so long. So I think everybody's pretty much given the right advice, like do things, give your brain a break, do one thing, I'd say, every day that makes you laugh or makes you happy. Because I think laughter is something that we really need every day as humans. And, you know, so if there's something that can brighten your mood, because it'd be very easy to just slip into that kind of spiral of depression, because it looks horrible outside, we're scared about catching corona. There's just so many things that could make us feel fearful. So I'd just say, find something to make yourself happy every single day. Yeah.
That's a good point. Aiko mentioned something to me before I came on the call, and that was something that people could do is to get a book or a notepad and write a gratefulness journal, and keep a record of things that you're grateful for that day or that week or that month. Because even though life is not normal, there's still things we can pull out and write down, and sometimes writing it down helps us remember it. Like, today I was grateful for this. And then, maybe when we're going through a harder day, we can look back on the things that we've been grateful for throughout that week. And that can remind us of the good experience we went through.
I think something else that can be a boost to your mental health is to encourage other people. So it's like a 2-for-1 deal. If you're feeling low, someone else is probably feeling low, or maybe even lower than you. So I think this is also a good time for us to reach out to people. Think about the people in your community that maybe don't have, the skills necessary to just jump on Zoom or to be on FaceTime. The older people from your church who are probably more afraid to have that quick trip to Tesco than we are, and are extremely isolated. Maybe write them a letter, give them a phone call. And I think as we bless others, we are blessed as well. So I think that's a good way of not just boosting your own mental health and your own well-being, but someone else's at the same time. I'd also say keep to a routine, get up, have a wash, guys, have a shower, please, guys, have a shower, brush your teeth.
Stay fresh.
I don't know what's gonna see it. I was gonna see your ashy knees, but cream your ankles, friends. Like, when you feel moisturized, your brain will be happier. Okay, just do it, guys.
I'm not going to ask the question. I'm not going to ask it, but I am going to ask it. But I'm not going to ask it. Is how many of you had 7 showers last week?
Hey, in the Holder household, you're showering twice if you leave the house. Twice a day or 3 times. Guys, Corona's real. Corona is real.
Stay clean.
Corona is
my hands
real.
are cracked and dry from all the hand washing. So, and my body is feel cracked and dry. That's what
I'm doing a lot more exercise as well, so I have to have more showers. So
yeah.
It is what it is.
One extra thing though, I think is actually really important, probably like boosting this part of workers. But I would say being trapped in your house with or without family can bring up a lot of kind of issues that you might have from your childhood or whatever. And I think it would be the perfect time, seeing as you've got nothing else to do and you want someone else to talk to go to the British Association of Credited psychotherapists and things and get some online counselling. Because I think you can't go in and sit in a room with someone. It might have seemed something you wouldn't have even tried or bothered making the time to do before, but I would highly recommend. I think everybody should have a little bit of counselling at one point in their life, even if you think you don't need it, because it's just nice to talk through stuff with somebody who's neutral. And I think if you have the opportunity and the means, I would really recommend like doing counselling sessions. I mean, you might as well if you've got nothing else to do. And you'd be surprised how much it will like make you explore yourself and make you feel better about whatever it is that you're going through.
Yeah, I also feel like at the moment, obviously with everything that's happening and everything is kind of like shut down, factories, industries, workplaces and everything, it's also an indirect call from God saying, be still and know that I am God. And, these memes that we've been seeing, I think there was one which was saying, everything is shut down. There's a shutdown, that shutdown. Now you could type this time for you and me, God. So I think also just put some extra time in reading the Bible and also praying as well, especially praying for those families who are being affected right now with COVID-19 and stuff, because they really do need it. We also need to connect to God a bit more since we have the time now.
Yeah, definitely. And on the topic of prayer, I know the General Conference has started a 100 days of prayer, and that incorporated praying for those affected by COVID-19 as well.
Just kind of on the topic of the Bible, as you brought it up, Wilson, are there any, just to throw it out, are there any Bible characters that come to any of your minds of people that either willingly or by their circumstance were in a period of isolation that we could maybe like relate to, or like, look at their experience and how they handled being isolated for us today?
Jonah, I'd say. Was everybody thinking of Jonah? I
Nah,
wanted to get that in.
I was thinking you tried to get in there first, Wynny. That's not nice, man.
I would definitely say Jonah. He was doing his own thing, and God had to physically put him in a position where he had no time but to pray to God and talk to him and have that struggle. So I'd say that kind of mirrors quite well what a lot of us are going through right now. We didn't get into this situation by choice, and maybe some of us were quite comfortable the way we were doing things, what we were doing, and now it's making us stop and think, okay, where is my relationship with God and how am I going to react to this situation? So I'd definitely say that Jonah's somebody who makes me think, what can you do when you're in a situation but pray? I've been doing a lot of that, more so than lately. So yeah.
I think Noah, another one. Noah had like some long-term isolation, stuck in their ark with his family and
Yeah.
and the multitude of animals. So yeah, I think that must have been hard for him.
Yeah, watching the water go, well, hoping it goes down quick. Yeah.
So I think
for me, I would think about Jesus in it, because I think that there's periods where Jesus put himself in isolation. So he often see in the Bible, he went up to the mount to pray, or he went there to pray, or he's always told his disciples, hang on 1 second, let me just go on further to pray. He put himself in isolation to kind of have that special connection, with God. And I guess this could be, I think there's some pros that can come out of this, and we're in isolation as well. I think this is the time for us to kind of reconnect. And also as well, that when Jesus was like, felt isolated from God, when he's saying, listen, if it be your will, like take this cup away from me, and he didn't hear anything, he was able to just continue. And that was because of the isolation period that he put himself in prior. So I think that's an important example for me anyway.
For me, I think of Joseph when he was in
he
prison.
was one I was gonna say.
Speaking to it. Yeah, I think of Joseph when he was in the prison. Although there would have been other people around him, like he was away from his family, the friends who would have made him Potiphar's house. And I think when you look at Joseph's life, like he was always a man of integrity. And I think sometimes when we're by ourselves, it's really easy for us to kind of think no one's around us, get into bad habits because no one sees what we're doing. I think it's always important for us to kind of just try and maintain our integrity even in these times, so that when we come out of this, we're stronger as people, rather than being like a certain person outside of the house and inside the house now just being completely different. So I think for me it's about like maintaining that integrity consistently.
The other person that come to my mind is Daniel when he was in the lion's den, and he was caught in isolation with lions. So that's like a whole nother level of fear in that respect. But even in that situation where there was fear, anxiety, and uncertainty, he was able to still have his trust solidly on God. And I think in that time of isolation where you realize, okay, it's just me here, it really can be a time to solidify that faith that you have in God, and be stronger when you come out of that.
As for me, sorry, you were going to say?
I was just going to say Elijah when he was at the brook Cherith, and God sent ravens to feed him. I think that's an encouraging story in the sense to say that a lot of people are panicking and worried that food's going to run out, or provisions aren't going to be there, but it's testament to God's ability to provide for all our needs, even in that kind of situation where we have to be isolated, we have to be in hiding, or we have to be away from each other. God will still provide for us.
For me, John the Revelator, not that we see exactly what he was doing, but as a result of him being in isolation and as a result of him being faithful, God was comfortable and happy to use him to give him visions so that we could have the book of Revelations today. So I believe that in isolation as well is the best time we connect with God, and that he can also even give us the direction that we need. So.
Just bouncing off that, I think it was during isolation that a lot of the characters in the Bible did some pretty significant things. Paul wrote most of his books while he was in isolation, whether it was in prison. John, like you just mentioned, in isolation. And then throughout history, certain people did significant things in isolation. You've got Martin Luther in the Castle of Wartburg, where he wrote the German New Testament, and Newton, gravity, was during a time of isolation as well. So we see those, some significant things that have happened when people have had a little bit more time of reflection and time to do sometimes those projects that they've always thought about doing but haven't ever gotten around to doing. Any final kind of practical tips you want to share with people before we wrap things up? And there is a practical or spiritual or professional tip, anything that you'd like to share?
I just think for me, I think all of us, our hope and prayer should be that when quarantine ends, we come out as better people, like more loving, more kind. We value our relationships with everybody a lot more, and that ultimately it develops during this time that we've had. Come close to other people, but also most importantly, drawn closer to God.
I second that, about using this time to seek after God, and take that time to pray and to study even more. But as we are in this time, it can be difficult when you see the headlines running and you see the situation escalating in different parts of the world. But just to remember that there is still hope, regardless of how bad a situation may get, because we have hope in Christ.
My advice echoes what Denise said before. Get through your phone book, seek out those people who you haven't reached out in a long while, call them, see how they're doing, and just tell them, you got them in thought at this time. Even if it means the elders in your church, the elderly people in your church rather, ask for their phone numbers from the church, and if it's possible, get them, and then try to call them and see how they're doing. Because by doing that, you're also helping them, their spirits to be uplifted at this time. And I believe that's what God would want us to do.
I would say, go on.
Go on.
I would say, don't be afraid to reach out for help. Like, if you're struggling, then there's always someone who's willing to listen. There's always someone who's willing to encourage you. And there's, sometimes things can feel bad. People are losing their jobs. People are losing their family and friends. And it's a serious situation. It's a serious time. So I would say that if you are if you've fallen into a dark place, if you are really struggling and you don't know what to do, please don't be afraid to just reach out to someone and ask for help. There is no shame in that. There is no harm in that. So please do that.
I think from my perspective, I think it'd be a good time to just to reflect. Reflections it's been a good thing for me, because it's made me think about if I'm living right, if I'm been doing the right things, if church is going the right way it should be going. So this is the time I'd say it's good time to sit down and reflect, and things. So when this drama passes, you are ready to go. You've got these plans, you know what needs to be fixed, you know what you should be doing, so you can run away and just do what you need to do, man. So yeah, reflection.
I would probably echo what Adam mentioned earlier about the gratitude journal, because if you've never had a chance to test God before, now's the perfect chance. So I'd say every day document something that you're grateful for, something that God's brought your way, and every day ask God to reveal himself to you, because I really do. It felt like a cliche all the many times before, but it really does feel like God's coming is just around the corner. So I think we should just use this as an opportunity to see who God is and properly know him, so we can be ready for when he comes.
One thing I'd mention, and is that I think it's important for all of us to obviously know what's happening in the world and know what's happening in our country and the new changes, but we don't need to be listening or watching the news all day. And reading all the headlines all the time. I think it's healthy for our mind to give us a break at certain times of the day, or sometimes even a day. Like there was one day last week where I just said, I'm not checking the news at all today, because it'll probably be worse tomorrow than it was today, and be worse the next day than it is tomorrow. So I'll just pick up in 2 days' time. And just having that break mentally for me from like checking or seeing was, it was good to have that head space, so to speak, of just kind of disconnecting just a little bit. from the constant, sometimes temptation just to always be watching and looking at the current developments that are going on.
Mute the family WhatsApp friends. Mute it.
Well, there's truth to that. I think sometimes, I don't know about you, but sometimes Sabbath can be the worst day for WhatsApp. And not all the WhatsApps that are getting forward are of a spiritual nature. They just
not
just stuff, you know.
All angles. It's wild, man. It's wild.
But actually, I think that's, for me, a family, calling my family and having a group call with them has been one of the good things as well.
Yeah.
I'd recommend that as well. Get a Zoom account, have a group family call, joke around, pray together, laugh together. I think that's good.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for being here and sharing your experience and sharing some tips professionally, spiritually, and personally with those who are listening in and those who will watch afterwards. Much appreciate it. Before we close, I think we should have a couple of prayers. There are people that we know at this time that are going through really hard times. Some of them we know about, and some of them obviously we don't know. But I think we should continue to remember our friends and families in prayer, and each one of our church families as well, and people that are used to seeing each other. Remember the introverts, but especially the extroverts who are finding it difficult. So let's bow our heads for prayer. If I'll ask two of you can pray, and then we'll bring it to a close.
All right, I'll start. Heavenly Father, we come before you and we thank you for this opportunity that you've given us to talk and to discuss the issues about being in isolation. I pray, Heavenly Father, that even as we leave this call, Lord, that you may help us to be people of integrity as we are in isolation, for those who are watching and for those who are participating, Lord. I pray for those people who are affected at this time. Some people in our communities, in our families, in our churches, who have been directly affected, and some, Lord, who are in the hospital at this time. Lord, I pray that, Lord, you may put your hand of healing on them, Lord. And let it be your will, Lord, not our will, that gets done in this. And I pray, Lord, for those, Lord, who are also affected by anxiety, who are curious about where this will be going, Lord. I ask you, Lord, that you may help them to calm down and to trust in you 100% and know that you are in control at this time. And Lord, if there's anything else that we may have said, Lord, that is against you, we ask for forgiveness. I pray all these things in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for all that you are doing for us, even now, behind the scenes, things that we can't see. We thank you for the opportunity for us to meet in this way. And we pray that those who have been watching and that those who will watch will be encouraged and inspired by tonight's meeting. Father, we want to ask you to help us to utilize this time that you have given us, this unexpected, unusual time, to do something that will help us to grow in you, that will help us to grow personally, and help us to come out of this period of isolation as better than we went in. We pray for those essential and key workers who are working, those who are song heroes, like our NHS staff and our doctors and our nurses who are on the front line, saving lives and bringing comfort to those who are ill. We ask that you will give them strength, that you will give them energy, that you will protect their health. And we ask, Father, that you will also be with those who sometimes are behind the scenes and we often forget about. We ask that you will do the same for them also, Lord. Father, we pray that you will help us to listen carefully to what your Spirit says to us, so that when you do put something on our heart to do during this time, you do put a person on our heart to call, or you give us something, that you whisper something to us that you desire us to do for someone else, that we will be receptive, and that our hearts will be open and ready to receive the opportunities that you place before us. We pray, Father, that you will speak to us, that you will be with us, and that you will help us to trust you more, and that you will give us the grace to trust you more. And we thank you for all that you are doing and all that you will do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, guys, don't leave just yet. But I just want to say to everyone who's watching, thank you guys for joining us. Later on this week, a couple of things we have going on. We'll have a Tuesday. We don't have anything this week. Wednesday, we hope you've got prayer meetings or things in your local churches. On Thursday, we're going to have a book club, and we'll put more information on Instagram and Facebook about that later on today. Friday, there's going to be a Bible study, and on Sabbath, we'll have church as well. So thank you for joining us tonight, and we look forward to seeing you on the upcoming either a Zoom call or on a live stream. All right. God bless you guys, and goodbye.
See you later.
Bye.